Okay.
Stumps are good.
Good evening. I'd like to call the September meeting of the West End Park and Recreation Commission order. Acknowledge we do have a quorum, a full quorum tonight. First item is the approval of the minutes from the Park and Recreation Commission meeting of August 22nd.
Motion approved.
Second.
Further discussion, additions, or corrections? If not, all in favor of said motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by the same sign. Moving on to unfinished business, approval of the list of representatives from the local lawn Conservation, Wildlife, and Policy Committee. You probably all have this in your packets. These are the people, these were not officially approved. They should have been submitted a year ago. And this is under the purview of this commission to approve these people, all of them. They've all consented to accept reappointment and everything. So entertain, any questions at all? And if not, entertain a motion to approve the number of people that are listed as candidates for the LLC.
I'll move to approve the list.
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor of said motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by the same sign? Moving on. Item B under unfinished is playgrounds, discussion and desired improvements and or renovations. How many of you are going to enlighten us, please?
Probably 3 of us,
Please do, lead us on.
or more, as needed. I'll just introduce, and then Mike and Cindy can dive into some more details. But we have met with Shannon Shambo and Sarah Stone, the 2 individuals that are leading the charge for the All Abilities Playground addition within West Bend a couple of times now. They are still passionate. They have raised the first $443, and that was turned into Carolyn, who is giving it to Lori for the Parks, Friends of Parks to hold. We met with Lori as well and asked that they would take care of that and then make the donation back through the system appropriately at the appropriate time. So she's gonna be hanging on to that money. That was a candy bar sale that they are excited about, and it's a start. It's a long ways from the potential $500,000 or $600,000 that they might need to do this in the end, but they realize that, but they're still crazy passionate. I think that's what I wanted to share as far as an introduction, and that the Parks Department is taking it seriously. I'll let Mike talk more about the tours that we've been on, and Cindy talk more about the early stages of any kind of a design or a thought process of a design coming before you.
Some of the facilities we've looked at already are Waukesha just did a full new playground system there, 12,000 square foot, board in place rubber, brand new play system. Waukesha's is a little different design and manufacture than a lot of the other ones we've seen. They've also incorporated some adult workout equipment inside of it, so when the kids are playing, the adults have some extra things to do, some shade structures and all that. Very nice facility. It's around $600,000, about a $600,000 project. They did save some money there. The fencing that was in place, they could save the concrete curbing around it and all that stuff. So they did save tens of thousands of dollars by using the same footprint of an existing playground. Several weeks ago, we went and visited the play system in Port Washington. We wanted to see that play system because it's close and so many people talk about it. And we knew that it's going to be going under renovation this week. We're actually going back there tomorrow. Take a look at it, meet with some of the folks in Port. The play system is 11 years old. They're putting $215,000 into it. Why did they have to put in $215,000 into an 11-year-old play system? So we're gonna go find that out tomorrow. We know a lot of it's the fall zone, the port in place rubber. It's very expensive. It's not gonna last forever, things like that. So again, we wanted to go take a look at Port before the renovation started. Should be pretty interesting. We'll take a look at it again tomorrow. And meet with those folks in Port. Last week we were down in Franklin. That's a newer system that they have down there. It's very similar to what they have in Port Washington. We met with their mayor, city engineer, and Shelley, I can't remember, I don't even want to pronounce her last name. She was the fundraiser behind Kayla's playground. It was Kayla's mother. Again, another great visit. It was great because the city engineer was there. We talked to the mayor about fundraising and how they did things. Again, just a really cool all-inclusive system where the one in Franklin was really, to me, it was kind of exciting because, again, they're not just looking at someone who's handicapped, they're looking at those individuals, 2 to 12-year-old kids, so the whole family can participate. The whole family, the entire family can be engaged. While they're there, they can spend some extra time there. Definitely a destination. It's good though that we're visiting these locations because Franklin, okay, they've got a nice little parking lot there. It's not big enough. Buses are in there all the time. Buses have to leave, they unload, leave. They have to go kind of find their own spot to park. They had to build restrooms there to help support the playground. They had a shelter there already. If I wanted to rent a shelter, I certainly wouldn't rent that one anymore because on the weekends it's going to be busy with playground activity. So again, we wanted to go visit and talk to some of these other communities to find out what's working, what's not working. Again, I hate to say it like this, but let someone else make the mistake so we can learn from them. I'm really looking forward to going to Port tomorrow, find out why they put $215,000 into an 11-year-old playground. And I know a lot of it is the fall zone. And there's different qualities of fall zones you can install, and it comes down to money and things like that. But again, you know, if you're gonna do it, try and do it right the first time so you get some longevity out of it. We just need to know how things are gonna work with this 11 years down the road. We don't wanna look at the taxpayers and say, hey, we need $215,000. So whatever future maintenance costs or anything like that impacts, I'd like to know that up front. So that's kind of part of the whole decision process, so.
Mike, what was the cost on the Franklin project?
1.1.
1.2 million, but that was playground, parking lot, restrooms, that's the big thing.
Yeah, total.
So, and again, Cindy's gonna talk about maybe some of our locations here, but that's why we're trying to explore some options like Ridge Run, north and south end, you know, where we have some restrooms. Maybe some area, maybe some unused space, things like that, so. Restrooms are big ones. The restrooms we built in Regner a couple of years ago by the entertainment area, that's $217,000. They're not cheap, and you know, you have to do it right, especially in this scenario, like in Franklin, you know, in your average restroom, they have baby changing tables, things like that. Here they have adult changing tables, you know, and those are things we would have to look at, you know, incorporating maybe some unisex restrooms, family restrooms, things like that. If it would land out at Ridge Run or something like that, we'd probably have to renovate one of those restrooms, which is fine, you know, we can do that, but the electric and the sewer and the water, things like that are already in place, so. Yeah, 1.2 million for Franklin. So, again, if you wanna pick a Parkside O or a Ralph's Park or something like that, and you have a clean palette to work with, that's great. You know, you can move things around, grading, et cetera, but we're talking $1 million. That's just construction, that's not future maintenance, all that, cleaning restrooms, et cetera, so.
We did meet with Sarah and Shannon yesterday, and that was one of the things they had said, that they had looked at all the different options for the different parks that we had talked about. Their favorite is Ridge Run South. It's got a big parking lot. It's underused. The bathrooms could be renovated to accommodate that larger changing table. And they like the feel of it because it's quieter. They're also putting together a group of, a team to help them with this project because they have kids who have handicaps, but there's also, you know, autistic kids, there's kids who have visual and hearing disabilities. So they're putting together a whole group of people to kind of help them decide which way to go. They like the playground at Port Washington and in Franklin. A lot of what they liked about that was the fact that it had a lot of ramps to run around in, which we were down there watching. There's a bunch of other kids. It's easy to play hide and seek, to go underneath them, around them, on top of them. And those are a little bit larger playgrounds too. Those are about 12,000 square feet. So that puts them in the range of $500,000 to $600,000 for construction. But Sarah said they were shooting for $1 million because they do want to put some money aside for future renovations, future maintenance issues that come up. So they are looking at that also. And they didn't want to go with an undeveloped site because they don't want, Sarah's words were, she doesn't want to set herself up for failure. So they're looking for something a little more manageable. A couple of the other things they talked about with this site was phase 2, phase 3. She was talking about a miracle field, which is like a baseball field, but it's the outfield fence is in closer. It's about 115 or 125 from the base, like the pitcher, not the pitcher, but the home plate out to the fence. So kids can hit the ball out of bounds and stuff like that. So I'm putting together just a schematic drawing of Ridge Run South with the spatial, areas that would take up. But, so they're putting together their team, and that's the next thing they wanted to know what the next steps were. And then we talked about doing an RFP to have companies come in and do a presentation, but first we're gonna get together a set of specifications that lay out exactly what they want to address. Then you invite companies to come in with some kind of a schematic design for a playground, and then they explain how they're meeting those specs. That's where you want all the different disciplines to be there, plus kids who aren't handicapped too. Let's see. So, yeah, the one they liked the best was the Franklin one. They're in love with that playground. And that's, I'm thinking they may end up going with that playground company if that's the one that meets the requirements the most. So, we're gonna keep meeting with them, keep working on it, but it's gonna be a longer term project to get all that money together.
Question for you, our Challenger Diamond over in Riverside Park, would that have those same dimensions? Just so people can get a
The which, the
Challenger one, right
Diamond?
next to the tennis courts. And that's the Challenger, and the
You know
Little League
what?
or the minor
I
league
don't,
has that.
that's deeper than 150 feet.
Yeah.
That's, okay. So you got a different
115 to
perspective.
125, and it's like synthetic turf, so it's flat. That's the kind of thing they're looking for. Yeah, but that's a phase 2 right now. They're just focusing on the playground for now.
Okay.
I mean, I think Ridge Run would be a home run, I really do. I do believe it's underused, you got parking there up the, so I think it'd be a perfect spot, nice flat, easy spot to start with. So it'd save them some
Sure.
huge money, I would guess.
Some of the concerns with Ridge Run is Wheat Ridge Lane coming in and out. It's narrow.
I know,
The driveway's
scenic's
narrow.
terrible, I know.
Scenic's nothing compared to, just to mention some buses, or,
I know.
and I'm not talking about Greyhound buses, I'm talking
Right.
about, service buses, things
Right.
like that, but, the restrooms, we would look at maybe like a drop zone,
Yeah.
Closer, right next to the restrooms, things like that, where you had the open field there, there's quite a picture, there'd be some grading involved, but, again, it's not like we're taking out 200-year-old trees, none of that's there, it's kind of a clean slate where we can get in there and do some work. And there's restrooms, that's
Nice ones.
huge.
Right.
That's just a huge cost. Not to mention, the other shelters that are there, things like that, where, I think you could still rent the PIC Pavilion and have an all abilities
Oh, yes.
playground
Oh,
near
yeah.
it, and still have, your separation if,
Right.
if you're not, if you want your birthday party at the PIC and things like that, so.
That's the thing I would be concerned about with that, was Carolyn can attest to how busy that is. I think every weekend there's at least one day, if not both days of the weekend, are really booked solid throughout the
That's
week.
true, that's
And
true.
there might be a lot of
Jim.
conflict there.
Yeah, no, the PIC Pavilion and the cabin are rented every weekend, sometimes both Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
The busy season,
And-
sometimes Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, they're very popular.
And when that goes, that parking lot really gets filled up,
There is room to expand that parking lot out there, though. You could keep going out, because it's a linear parking lot, so.
That's the deer run.
If we really need it.
How are we gonna bake deer next year?
The other part of it is there's a little bit of elevation change that they were looking at some other playgrounds that have those at-grade slides, so maybe you could incorporate some of that. They're looking to make this a destination that's really different from some other playgrounds around here. So if you incorporate all of these kind of things, it'll make it different than the other playgrounds, and would be really cool, I think, so I hope they keep going with it.
Another question I have about Ridge Run South and everything else, that Wheat Ridge Drive, whose purview is that? Is that under the township or the county or us? The town, and so that'd be almost prudent to get some input from them, how they could, well, you've been back there, you know what it's like, it's just really, if you're gonna increase much more traffic on that, it's gonna almost get a little bit dangerous.
The scenic town road?
Westman, city of Westman.
Oh, city of West Bend, okay, I'm sorry.
Scenic
I'm
Drive
looking at
West
the
is
map.
Westman, Wheat Ridge is town. So. One other item I've been failing to mention, we do have a handicap accessible playground already in West Bend. It's over at Sunset Park, okay? If you wanna go take a look at it, please do, but it's a very small system compared to what we're looking at, and it's handicap accessible, but how can I say this? It's not fully accessible. Like the one in Franklin Port, you can have someone in a wheelchair here on a ramp, and another wheelchair can pass at the same time. You can have someone in a wheelchair here, kids running up and down, whatever it might be. This person in a wheelchair could be playing with something, doing something, other people can still access this. What we have at Sunset, you can't. If you're in a wheelchair, if you're in a walker, there's not much for you to do except for go up a ramp and around a couple things, come right back down. So if you want to look at a handicap accessible playground, we have one. But that is not what we're talking about here. We're talking about an all abilities, fully accessible system to accommodate anyone from a child to an adult who has some form of need. And their siblings and their families and their friends and everyone else, so everyone can be engaged at the same time. So I just wanted to mention Sunset, so.
As we get further along, we can show you some of the features we've been taking pictures of, and Shannon and Sarah have been noting. We've asked them to come back with your list of, can't miss or things you absolutely want. At Franklin, there is a swing that you can fully load a fully loaded wheelchair, not have somebody come in and out of. So there's a super secret way to get the key, and you get your wheelchair in there, and then you can actually swing right in the wheelchair, all locked and safe and all that good stuff. The mayor shared with us that's one of only
15
in the entire country
and
that they have. So that's something that's
Yeah,
near and dear to Shannon and Sarah,
that's
and
cool.
will likely meet favor with the community. We've introduced them to John Bluer from Threshold, and he's receptive to having somebody from his team on their committee, and they're excited about that prospect too, to tie in the more adult component.
And if you're a wheelchair-bound veteran or a parent, you can go right on the playground with your kids. Unlike the other playgrounds, you can't do that. So if your kid won't come home with you, you can at least go chase them and get them off of there. So it's for adults too, in that method, so.
Anybody have any other questions?
Their timeline been developed yet? No, loose, beginning, early stages, okay.
Right. A realistic one is a long timeline.
Okay.
Hopefully because before their kids grow up, they don't
Right.
want to use it
Okay.
anymore.
Okay, thank you. Well, we'll move on to new business. I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome our newest commissioner, Megan Kennedy. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Looking forward to working with you. And I know you're gonna have lots of great ideas and lots of energy to expand on our.
Hopefully.
Yeah. The next item. of
Well,
new-
come on,
let her
you
introduce
gotta tell us a little about yourself here. Very tech savvy, okay?
I work for Kohl's corporate headquarters in the Falls. I'm a digital business analyst, so know a lot about websites, traffic, projecting, forecasting, things like that for Kohl's. November is our busy season, go figure, Black Friday, so probably the busiest I'll be at work. I also am on MELS of Ozaki County. I'm also on their advisory panel. They're a 501(c) charity that works mainly with special needs people, so might have some connections there with that all abilities angle. That's kind of one of their specialties. Other than that, work, I have a dog, I don't have kids, married, and I live in West Bend, kind of near Villa Park actually, so
Outstanding.
in my history.
Thanks for joining.
Welcome.
We really appreciate it, so.
And not the young blood anymore.
Thank you.
All right, moving on, item B is, we have a resignation that Nick Lemke, our recreation supervisor, has resigned. I'll let Jay expand more.
Yeah, Nick did resign. He's leaving the profession. He's not going to be in recreation any longer. He's served with us for 3 years and several years before that, and just felt like it was time for him to pursue a career change into something that didn't require so many nights and weekends and a more set schedule of hours. So certainly wish him well. He left us last Friday, was his last day. We've met a few times internally with staff regarding the desire to refilled the position, and despite the Facebook post that buzzed around that said the city was getting rid of recreation, that's not the case. We're filling the position and pursuing that post haste. So the position has been posted, and we'll work on the applications are already coming in for that. We'll take a look at them when we receive a chunk of them in the near future. But talked to Nick a bunch before he left regarding what to look for and what types of items in his current job that he created while he was here and made it his own, and which ones maybe he wouldn't recommend for the future, and which ones he thought a new person might come in and augment. And so the two of us had a lot of good chats down the stretch. All the current offerings are being met thanks to Jackie, Mike, and everybody else that might be fulfilling in the interim. I stopped out at little kids flag football on Saturday morning and saw all the coaches, and Casey, our young high school lad that's stepping up and leading some of that stuff, is pretty cool to see. He's a put together junior in high school. It's really impressive. The guy wants to be a doctor and has taken this challenge on as I can do this. I can lead first and second graders and referee and blow a whistle. So it's been fun to see him step up. I don't know if Jackie, you've been through this before. You've walked a mile in these shoes, so I don't know if you want to add anything to that at this point, but.
It'll be covered. I mean, we'll be covering it all the way through. As Jay alluded to, I've done this several times before. Every time we've had a supervisor leave, Carolyn and I pretty much had to fill the position for months. But we're accustomed to it, and we can do it, and it's important that we keep everything going. And it's important that we have really, really strong numbers in all of the programs that are operating. We started dance classes this week, so we have full classes on both Tuesdays and Wednesday nights, presently at the Mutual Mall, or still. And our archery classes are going. We're going to start prepping for winter programs as well, so there is no time to just say, okay, well, we'll wait for somebody new to come on board. So we're pretty much taking the mantle and running with it, and that's what we do. And that's what we've done before, so there we are.
Some of you longer standing members know this, but for newer members, this position has a chance to be a bit of a turnaround. Nick's our third in 6 years, so we had an individual serve for 1 year, an individual serve for 2 years, and then Nick lasted 3. So we certainly are thankful and appreciative for that. Yeah, maybe the next one will last 4. That's certainly possible.
A stepping stone job,
Yeah,
too, in a way, and just Nick moved closer to home too. I mean, that's where, right, kind of the area he grew up, so that's part of the whole scenario.
Intrigue for him.
Yes, yeah. So I'm very, very happy for him. So.
Mike, you had something?
When there's a key position like this, could you let us know? I heard about it Saturday from someone in the community. I would have liked to have said goodbye to Nick and thanked him for his service, and then I looked, it was on Facebook that he had left, and I heard it, I went back and I didn't read my packet yet.
Yeah, sure, we can do a better job of that.
And then it was too late, the last day was Friday already, I would have liked to have said goodbye to him.
I had these two guys happen to be in for a meeting the day Nick resigned, so it was nice that Nick was able to come up and talk to Mike and Jim in person, but I can do a better job of that.
Was the posting the same? Nothing added or?
We tweaked a couple of things,
adjustments.
but nothing.
Ultimately about the same.
Yeah,
Recreation supervisor.
Full-time?
full-time,
part-time?
yes. Yeah, we did talk through that. Nick suggested in a staff meeting, what about the possibility of a part-time, and Jackie was quick to point out that's not a good move, and Nick was just saying, hey, I just wanted to bring it up and talk through it with you all, and I don't think there was much love for a part-time position. He worked a lot of hours, and that's part of, I think, why he's no longer in recreation. It's a lot. Weekends and nights and checking in on high school and college kids. It's a load, that's for sure.
We certainly do appreciate Nick's efforts and everything else. I think he did a very, very credible job and everything. Handled a lot of challenges, most notably aquatic type ones, as we all are aware. So, anyway, moving on. Anybody else want to comment on this? If not, we'll move on to donations.
We Energies Foundation, they contributed $1,500 for one of the two benches that are on Riverwalk East. It's right near the overlook. There's two benches there, that's the only room we had for benches on the east side because of all the slopes and this narrow areas. If you go down and look at it, their plaque is mounted, it's a bench with no back on it, so their plaque is mounted right on the end, it's got their logo on it, so it's pretty cool. So that's down at the Riverwalk, and we're very appreciative of that.
I have a donation from the West Bend Disc Golf Club for $300 for future development of the disc golf course at Riverside Park.
And I have a $4,000 donation from Spotlight Productions, West Bend Dance Tumbling Troupe, Jeff Spirits on Main, Shwai Meats, and the Dark Star Band for the new renovation of the rec center. They did a concert, kind of quick, put it together, during the whole renovation and whatnot, discussing, and so we wanted to do a kickoff. And so a band that hasn't been together in 15 years got back together and did a concert in Regner Park.
We also have an additional donation from Roots and Branches, amount of $750 as a result of a garden party auction of 3 trees for the downtown Riverwalk landscape that was presented to us. So anyway, at this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to accept and
Guys, get
acknowledge.
that
Accept and acknowledge said donations.
Motion to accept?
Discussion? If not, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by same sign? Good. Moving on, Chairman. Chairman's got a report. It's been an honor and a privilege to serve this commission and community as chairman since 1984. But due to increasing demands on being my wife's primary caregiver, I must reluctantly step down as chairman and serve out my current appointment as a commissioner. As per our succession protocol, because we can go all the way back to 1984 to check it, I hand the gavel over to our duly elected secretary, Mike Starl, to succeed to this
You
position.
still get to go tonight, though.
No. In addition to this, Mike will then take over the position I serve on the planning commission, because that's by state statute, required by state statute that the chair of the Park and Rec Commission does serve on the city planning commission. Anyway, I want to thank all of my fellow commissioners and the Park and Recreation Forestry staffs for their support and advice during my tenure as chairman. It's very hard to write that.
It is.
Michael,
Well,
it's yours, here.
I don't know how I can follow up on this. 1984, how many years is that, Jim?
A year older than I am.
You're up, there you go!
Before I was
Thank
born.
you. So, again, it'll be hard to replace what he's done for the city of West Bend all these years, it really is. I mean, we're very fortunate. He always tells a story about my grandpa. My grandpa appointed him chairman, so it's kinda funny how it works sometimes. He nominated you, so, I mean, thanks, Secretary, again, I hope you do the job. I'll never replace you, there's no doubt about it, so, and we'll keep this going. We're very fortunate to live in a great city. I keep saying this to everybody, I mean, we are fortunate, so we've got a great parks, we got a great city to live in, so we're gonna keep it going, Jim, okay?
Well, I'll be here.
You're there to kick,
keep you on line.
okay, you're there to kick my butt anytime you want, okay, so.
No, you'll do fine, you'll do fine,
So.
you can follow through on your agenda.
All right, okay, Secretary just said what he had to say, so, Conservation Supervisor?
That's me.
Yes.
I'm Courtney, in case I didn't meet anybody yet at the table. I just started on September 3rd over at Lac La Ronde. What's currently going on is Monday we had goats delivered. We have 40 goats at the Conservancy. They're there for 10 days, eating our invasive species, mostly buckthorn and Russian olive and poison ivy. So if you are out there anytime from now to Wednesday, you'll see a white fence up. Don't touch it because it's electric, but you might see them out grazing. We also recently were just accepted by the Leadership West Bend project. We're working with them to place QR codes around the property, so we're starting that on Monday. They're coming out. We have 5 volunteers. So if you are out there hiking, you will see QR codes that you can scan and learn about the property, the history. So that'll be going on between October and April. And we have our upcoming Luminary Walk on October 12th from 6 to 9 p.m. And that is pretty much what's going on since I started.
Enlighten an old goat, what's a QR code, please?
Oh, sure. It is a code that you can scan with your phone that will take, you have to have an app on your phone that you scan, and it will bring you to a website that teaches you. So right now, what the volunteers are going to be doing is scanning in a lot of photos from Ann and Lawrence from the Conservancy. We're going to be going through a lot of historical documents. Also, we'll be teaching you about the property, like plants and other species that are on the property. So it'll be a little bit of history, a little bit of education about conservation.
Tell you where the poison ivy is?
Yes.
Leaves of 3,
What?
right? Leaves of 3, let it be, right?
Yes, yep, that's right.
I guess it won't work on a flip phone, will it?
No.
Oh, they still make those?
I have 3 of them, and they all function.
Sure. Since 1984.
There you go.
Got my first one in '82. I came on in '82.
Do you guys rent the goats? Whose goats are they? How do you get 40 goats to go?
Don't you go.
Part of it is funded through a grant, and the other part is through the board, and we are renting them. They delivered them Monday evening, so I was out there with Paul from the board, and they know exactly what to eat when they're out there. They're trained very young of what to eat, what not to eat. So, I mean, I watched them for quite a while yesterday. They'll just take a huge branch, kick it down, and they know how to eat the buckthorn. It doesn't affect them eating poison ivy. So it's a very safe way of getting rid of invasives versus using pesticides.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. Wow.
And this is their second time out. They've been out once in June already. This is our second
How many
visit.
acres do they kind of
7.
go at a time?
They are in 7 acres. Right now they're in kind of a smaller area, and then on Saturday we're going to open up part of the fence and let them onto another part. So right now they're in a little bit less than 7 acres, but total they will consume 7 acres.
So in like 20 days? Did you say?
10 days
10
this
days.
time. Last time they were
They'll
here, I
take-
think 20 days is what I was told.
And they, I mean, they take it down pretty much all the way to like,
Mm-hmm.
so that you don't have to do it until it
There was
grows back up again?
Yeah, there was a little bit of regrowth. I got to walk before they came out and see where they were before they came this time, and you could see the good damage that they did. There was some regrowth, but then they come through and they eat that again, and the hope is that they can then go through and control it better now that it's down more from their help.
Any other questions for Courtney? Thank you very much. Next would be tourism and event coordinator. That would be Jackie.
Great. Yeah, we're getting to the end of our events for the season, but we're already, because of the leap year and the crazy schedule next year, we're already almost fully scheduled for next year because of the, not only is there a leap year, but the 4th of July is on a Saturday, which throws all the schedules into craziness. So we're working with all the event coordinators right now. Normally, we don't even start that until end of October, November, but nobody's waiting. They're on the phone with me, or they're emailing, or we're calling back and forth, so we're working on that. Last weekend, we had the Alzheimer's event, which is very large. It comes in on Friday and Saturday, and then we were supposed to have a YMCA event on Sunday, but they canceled and went back to the gym because it was raining, so they didn't come in. We have one more event for the season. Mike and his entire staff are amazing to work with. We've really got a system going, and it's really appreciated by everyone. I make it a point to be out there, but by the time I get there, which is usually earlier in the morning, his staff is already come and gone. The cleaning staff has already come and gone, so we have a really nice system operating, because it's all about service to the customer. And if we, knowing how events really want to be helped or not helped, as the case may be, it's really nice that we're able to come in, do our thing, tell them what they need to know, and get out of their way. So it's great, it's great, but his staff really comes in and they do a lot of work. I come in at the end and go, yes, thank you, oh, it's beautiful, thank you, yes, we work hard, no, but, and so, you know, we get them on all ends, and so it's really nice. We have them from start to finish, with permitting and everything all the way through, so it's been really good. So yeah, that's it for tourism, and you want me to just go right into the recreation?
I was gonna say, are you gonna take over next spot
Might as
too?
well
or-
just do it and
Thank
get it
you.
over with. As I said, the dance program is starting. I'll be, for the next week or so, I'll be ordering over 100 and plus little girls and 5 little boys, dance costumes. We try to buy them now, because we can get them at about 50% off. So it's Jackie doing sale shopping, essentially. With all the dance studio, or with all the dance companies, and so we're able to provide these kids with a full studio experience. We have exceptional instruction, and then we also do a full-on dance recital at the high school. We bring in the theater company that we work with, and they do all this, so we have full lights, we have full sound, we have full everything. So parents are thrilled beyond belief. Actually, we're gonna probably this year have so many kids that we're gonna have to split the recital into 2. So that's kinda cool, it's exciting, and it's really exciting for the kids. So,
Cool.
there you go.
Keep it going, okay?
Done.
No,
And go Packers, and Jim, I've been coming to your meetings since 1990, and I appreciate all that you have done, and the guidance that you have given all of us through the years, and the level-headedness, and always the practical nature of it. You know, we'd all have all these crazy thoughts, and then Jim would cut through the dirt.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else?
It's
Anybody?
good.
Okay. Next will be Superintendent of Parks and Forestry, Mike.
Thanks, Mike. September 16th, Ryan Williams started at Park and Forestry. Ryan filled one of our open positions. His official title is horticulturist / arborist. He's gonna do a lot of tree work, things like that, kind of a specialty position. Ryan has a 2-year associate's degree in arborist, or arboriculture from Green Bay Tech. He has 6 years professional experience, so we welcome Ryan. It's nice to have a young, strong individual, and we're right in the middle of our fall stumping program, so we kind of threw him right to the wolves. With that being said, 420 out of 422 stumps have been removed. We have 2 left, because we have so many utilities underneath them and fiber optic, etc., that we have to bring in a hydro excavator to do that work. A couple weeks ago, we ground right through a Spectrum cable line. That was $4,500 damage, things like that, because can't hand dig underneath stumps and all that, so we don't know how deep things are sometimes. I'm glad it was a Spectrum cable and not a gas line.
You got it.
So we actually have 2 stumps left, so our staff is pretty happy about that. And Jim, thank you very, very, very much. Appreciate your support and guidance throughout the years, I really do. And 27-7 for the Packers tonight.
27-7. Ooh, I'll take you up on that one, okay?
I hope he hasn't been smoking.
Yeah.
Tonight's the night.
All right. Anything else for Mike tonight? Okay. Cindy, Park Project Manager.
We applied for a grant for Eisenbahn State Trail maintenance in the spring, and we found out we are going to be getting that $25,000. It's for crack filling and seal coating and doing some maintenance work along steep shoulders where they've kind of undermined the pavement, which Mike's guys will be doing that. And that's going to happen next year.
Your guys will, let's say.
We'll do the shoulder work, not the ceiling and
Yeah,
stuff like that,
we'll
so.
hire that out. Since Nick is gone, Jay and I are working on the library rec center. We're still working to finalize plans, get the specs together. The thought is, since we don't have all the funding right now, that we'll bid it out in February, and hopefully by then we've got all the funding set. The East River Walk, we just got the last invoice from Yankee, so we will be paying that, and then we'll be sending in the reimbursement for the first grant round. We'll get a $394,000 and some change back on that reimbursement, and that's the end of that whole project and grant then. The West River Walk, we found out we've got, again, we applied in spring for a DNR stewardship grant for acquisition of those 2 parking lots at the north end of the project area. We did get a grant for that. It is for $121,925 to go towards the acquisition. Jay and I finished meeting with all the business owners on the west side that back up to the Riverwalk to get their needs and, utility upgrades and all that kind of stuff, and show them what the plan is for behind their businesses. So we're coordinating with all that. We'll keep them updated as things happen. We are gonna be applying for grants starting October through next spring for this project, because the estimated construction cost is right around $5 million. But there's a lot of big numbers in there. We're still working with We Energies to finalize their plans. That estimate right now is around $750,000, so hopefully that will come down. This is the first big cost estimate with the plan, so when things get bid, hopefully the numbers will come down. But we will be applying for grants and shooting for that number, or close to it.
Yep.
So, that's all I have.
You said we got a grant for the Eisenbahn, is the city gonna be taking over pretty much the thing of the Eisenbahn?
The city's improvements, the tree planting, the grass mowing and stuff that they put in, the asphalt that they put in with the shoulders, that is all part of the city's responsibility to take care of. So this grant is to maintain those things.
It's still a 3-way responsibility with
Right.
the county and state.
Yeah,
So any big trees overhanging, Jim, that's blocking that is not
County.
the city.
that's county
That's
responsibility.
not the city.
It's coming.
I'm glad I ride a recumbent trike. No, a year ago, it would have made an issue.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Great. Any other questions for Cindy? Okay. Jay, Director.
I'll start by saying thanks to Jim. I have not worked with you for 30 years or 35 years. I've worked with you for 3, but I've appreciated the work that you've done in helping build the park system to where it is.
thank you.
So, thanks, and I'm sure we'll try to do something, if you're so willing, to come before the council at some point too, because I'm sure the mayor and council would want to thank you appropriately as well.
Still, remember, I'm gonna be on a commission until
Yeah.
then.
Well, right, but
Yeah.
you're not serving on the plan commission
No, I know,
anymore, and
that's
you've
right.
done that for a long time, and you've served here as chairman, so I'm not
Yep.
saying that
Okay.
you're going anywhere, but you should still be
I wouldn't turn down that chance to sit down there now.
recognized appropriately. in
Yes,
front of us.
yes,
Running
With the
out.
mayor's blessing, I'll
yes.
I'm sitting over there.
coordinate that with you.
Sounds good.
I'll just share a couple of things. The $5 million is a big number. It's alarming. It's a number that I've shared with the mayor, and a number that we hope to continue to reduce a bit before we actually get. But Cindy's right, we have to start applying for grants. I did share that number with West Bend EDC. West Bend EDC was kind enough to contribute $100,000 to the east side, that's already constructed. And they committed another $100,000 to the west side, with a qualifier that they see that the city's moving forward and they like the design. So I shared the SEH video this morning at their meeting, that you guys all had a chance to see. Megan will get that to you somehow.
Outstanding video.
It is, they liked it. There's a chance for some additional funding, I guess is the reason I'm bringing all of this up. In case you bump into a West Bend EDC member, they are looking at running out their organization. So they were focused on economic development in the city and have been a big part of that for a long time. Now Washington County EDC, or Christian Teschlach's group, has really ramped up. The city has a significant presence and plays a very active role in economic development and recruiting businesses and retaining businesses in town. We have an economic development manager that works solely on that. That's a big part of what I do for the city as well. And we have the chamber who's involved with this, with businesses and retention and working with them, not to mention the bid and downtown association. So there are a lot of entities and the redevelopment authority for the city. So there's been talk since the entire 3-year time I've been here about the West Bend EDC quietly going away and disbanding. They received their funding from the sale of their their building in Barton that they had as a business incubator, and now they're looking to run out those funds. So with the $100,000 that's committed, I'm pretty confident that they like the design, they like the east side construction project, that is a lock. There's still $395,000 that is part of the runout. We have made a pitch for it. Cindy's been a part of that. There are several other community entities that are doing the same. Carl Cuss Field, Historic Theater, MOA, and Christian Teschlach's group are all part of the finalists for that money. So this morning's meeting was a chance to have a beginning conversation. They hope to have those funds run out by the end of the year. So I'll keep you posted as to how much more, if any, in addition to that $100,000. But if you bump into an EDC, West Bend EDC member, plug away.
Yes.
Because the $5 million number is big. And we think we have a path to get there. It's not without effort. And Cindy and her grant writing skills will be
Yeah.
greatly needed. in the
Put the
next-
test again, right? You do a great job at it, though.
Thank you.
I've continued to have meetings with folks regarding the open director position. I don't have anything new to report to you tonight on the movement of that, but I'll keep you posted as I move along.
You still don't have a timeline?
Just that I'm working on it, that's.
Okay. Is there anything else for the good of the board?
On Saturday, I went to the grand opening of the firefighter Memorial Bluff Park. It's real nice if you get a chance, go look at it. They put the flagpole up and the stones and everything are in place. The flagpole was donated by the Barton School. But yeah, it looks real nice. Jeff and the Barton business people did a great job.
Mike and his
And
guys.
I mean, everybody, but yeah.
No. That whole top of the hill looks really, I mean, compared to 5 years, I mean, it looks outstanding. It really does, so.
And it's not just a ladder holding up that sign.
No.
It is just a ladder, but it's not
Yes,
just a ladder.
no.
I didn't know they were gonna put it, I thought they were gonna put it by the pine trees, but they put it along the
They were gonna
walk.
kind of put it in the back, and after some discussion, we kind of decided to have it welcome people. You know, if you put it too far back, 35 miles an hour, someone may not notice it, so.
And it's nice right next to the walk, so when you walk by, you can see it.
Yep,
Yeah.
I think the way the sign looks, and the flagpole in the back as you go by, it looks pretty slick.
Yeah.
Pretty nice.
Anything else tonight? Scores the Packer game? 27-7. I think he's wrong, but we're gonna be good to go.
Well, that would be the first sign this month,
I don't-
Mike.
I need a motion to adjourn.
No, you don't.
I don't?
No, no.
Come
you
on.
don't have to.
I can I hit the gavel
Yep,
once?
you can-
No, you can just
Motion,
say-
oh,
No,
meeting
Yeah, adjourn.
adjourned.
Thanks.
Robert's rule says you do not have to
Okay,
entertain a motion.
thank you.